History is a psychedelic experience. It is the collective unfolding of the dream of our species in space and time. We are at the apex.
So what exactly are psychedelics? Well, we spoke to Jonathan Ive, a medical student and psychedelic researcher, to find out more about what they are and what they do, and how they can be used for tackling negative experiences of mental health.
Psychedelics are a set of compounds of different origins, different types, that all have a common thread. They all mimic, in particular, a neurotransmitter that is common to all of our brains, that is important for the regulation of mood and excitation inside our brains, and it's called serotonin. And by mimicking them, they can have activity at the same receptors as serotonin, the same pathways by which serotonin has its effects. But by selectively acting on some of them, but not all of them, they radically change the way in which our brains work in terms of its function, and can change our state of mind, our state of experience. And that can be really useful for tackling negative states of experience like mental illness. It was also placed in Schedule 1, which prevented it being used in a regular way, and certainly in a cheap way, by scientific researchers, and that's what put the stop in psychedelic research for, 40 years basically. But over the last 10 years, since about 2006, researchers started up again in a very small but very exciting way, and one that psychiatrists as a whole are very aware of and very interested in.
After speaking to Jonathan, we wanted to find out from someone with first-hand experience with psychedelics and mental health. This led us to speak to Tom Waterhouse, an advocate for the use of psychedelics for anxiety and depression.
Well, my name's Tom. I'm 20 years old, and I've been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, ADHD, and I've been through many different therapies, and I'm still really struggling. And then I found psychedelics. Okay, so when I get depressed, you lose all your characteristics that make you you. I lose all my motivation, don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to do anything, everything seems like such a hassle. The thought of leaving your room and having to talk to people is so scary, and you're very closed-minded, you're very negative about every little thing, very self-critical. And when I take psychedelics, it's different for every person, mind you, but for me, it gives me a different perspective on things. I get to look at everything from a totally new perspective. I enjoy things, the things that I really enjoy through my depression, I start to lose interest in. And psychedelics, whether it's LSD, psilocybin, or even mescaline and stuff like that, it totally changes your opinion on it. It gives you a new lease of life almost. It makes you want to go out and explore these things. It doesn't make you act all crazy, it just makes me feel more normal.
Compass Pathways is a biotechnology company that has patented a formulation of psilocybin, the active ingredient in magic mushrooms, that allows it to be taken in a pill form. This formulation has been used in various clinical trials. Notably, a 6-month follow-up of the recent treatment-resistant depression trial showed that patients were no longer depressed 6 months after taking psilocybin once. This research is groundbreaking, in that it has the potential to help millions of people suffering from depression. And if the next phase of clinical trials is successful, then it may be that the nearly 50-year ban on anything to do with psychedelics will be lifted, so that patients can get the treatment that they need.
If the current trials that are underway in a multitude of different locations across Europe, and in particular in London, go ahead as planned, and science is slow and complicated and takes time, and there's often problems. But if there are no problems, it may well be that these drugs are allowed to be prescribed by the agencies that regulate them, things like the Food and Drug Administration in the US and the National Institute for Clinical Excellence in the UK.
Psilocybin, wonderfully magic that it is in terms of its indigenous uses and its influence on Western culture, it is no different to aspirin, penicillin, beta blockers in the eyes of the regulatory authorities. And even it changes lives. Beta blockers change lives, hip surgery changes lives, and this is where we have to keep focused, because if we lose that language of getting this reality out there, we are going to reduce accessibility. And I loved your answer about accessibility. There's a lot of conflict from the psychedelic community who are saying, you're going to make it exclusive, you're taking away our magic mushrooms. The current situation is deeply exclusive. If you've got $5 to pay someone to go to a yurt in Totnes and take ayahuasca, great. But my patients, the 100,000 untreated cases of PTSD in this country, do not want to break the law, and they need not break the law. And so it's making it more inclusive by working with the regulatory authorities, and there is no other way to do this other than through a profit company. It just won't get done otherwise. So we've got to be sober and conservative and boring and evidence-based and data-driven, or these medicines will just will remain magically illegal forever.